You're here, my king. And you, friend of our brotherhood. Beyond these doors lies what you've been searching for. I trust you'll keep this secret to yourselves. Here, this is the song that'll grant you passage. I know the door will yield before you. A great power, thankfully tamed. A meeting with what made us who we are now. I can tell you no more. You must see it with your own eyes. I wouldn't dare. What waits within, I've already seen it long ago, and I know what it demands. But if a moment comes, one that calls for a choice, I trust you'll act in the spirit of the Stone Warden Brotherhood. No brother chooses alone.
Thank you, mortal. Your soul is strong and untainted.
And we can feel that you are not alone.
Let us repay your kindness with our wisdom. Remember this. When the time comes to decide Avalon's fate, peace will always be a choice. Find our kin. Seek the Weaver. You will understand.
And the path will unfold before you. It would be wise to follow it.
Then this is the end. The end of the Stone Wardens. Without the Four Dwellers, we've lost the only source of knowledge for sinking steel from stone. Perhaps it was meant to be. If the king decrees it, his will is our law. I'll have the brothers focus entirely on weapon making. When we're gone, there will be no one left to craft weird steel. Thank you for intervening, my lord. And to you, my friend. It is an honor to welcome you to the Stone Warden Brotherhood. From now on, my home is your home. Should you ever need anything, you'll find me at the Stone Warden's Hall.
Some Like the All-Mother, the Morrigan, and the Stagfather, yes. But there were many others as well. It feels like we once had a god or godling for every little thing. I suppose that kind of faith faded with time. Maybe people stopped needing gods for their small troubles when every problem began to feel larger than life. I used to follow the beliefs of my clan, but I abandoned them long ago. I'm not one for blind, mindless faith. After that, I believed in ideas, in people. I believed anything could be achieved if you put your mind to it, especially on Avalon. Now, I'm not sure what I believe in anymore. I'd rather not talk about it any further.
So, looks like fate itself decided to push you my way. That has to mean something. But Kedron, that's grim news. He may be blunt as a broken axe, but he's loyal as they come. If he sent a non-Rida in his place, then he knew he was dying, and he chose duty over pride. I won't let that go to waste, and neither will you. Truth is, I'd sent him to do the very same task I've just laid before you. Gather the tribes, call the moot. Now, you know how important this is. Yes? Who have you managed to convince? This pleases me greatly. The Svein are the finest scouts this land has ever known. Their skills will be invaluable in the war, and in shaping Avalon afterward. Allow me, in return for your effort and intervention, to return this piece of armor to you. It will improve your chances in the trials of the King's threat. How did you manage to convince the Twyde tribe? They've always kept to themselves, no matter the hardships we faced. You've done the impossible, and I want to give you an artifact the Twyde tribe once guarded. Here, a part to the King's armor they were tasked with guarding. It will aid you as you face the challenges of the King's threat. Could it be that the Volker have uncovered the truth about Mother? Unbelievable. Of all the tribes, I thought the Volker would be the least likely to show. Take these pieces of the King's armor, once guarded by the Volker. A gift in return for the help you gave him. May they serve you well in the King's threat. You have no idea how glad I am that the threat of Tryggve has passed, and that they've managed to appoint a new chieftain. The members of the Ulfred tribe are always the first to fight. Their strength and endurance are unmatched. Without them, we could forget about any real war effort, especially against Camelot. So, allow me to offer you a gift in thanks for aiding their tribe. A unique piece of our King's armor, forged by Ulfr himself, the very forefather they take their name from. Go now, my king, and reclaim your crown. All the tribes can do now is patiently wait for your return.
Now you ask me, when it was your choices and actions that led to those consequences. You managed to unite all of the Dalrita. That is no small feat, especially considering they tend to fight each other when they have no one else to battle. Gerfana should be pleased.
I am his burden, the man beneath the myth. I am the face that time forgot, the name that was never enough.
First, you used these people to win yourself a kingdom, and now you herded them here under threat of being stomped to death by giants if they leave or disobey. After all that they've gone through, all that they've done, all that they've suffered, this is how you intend to repay them?
No kingdom will stand with people like them within its borders.
They would have to change their ways. The Del Rita are not ready for this. You know this.
You did worse than all of them combined, and you are the one responsible for all they've done so far. They fought for your name and under your banners. Does this mean you're not fit to be a king? Not ready to have a kingdom?
I left the heritage of Pendragon behind me. I severed the ties between myself and my tribe. I lost all that tied me to the past when I became king. I set a new path for myself. They are not ready to do that.
Bullshit. You forced them to go against their sacred traditions. You destroyed their identities. They betrayed their comrades because you ordered them to. They kidnapped the children of the Giants because you told them to do it. Everything they did was so that you could win this war. And now what? You're going to punish them for being your best, fiercest soldiers, most loyal of your men?
This is not...
Oh, stop with your excuses already. You broke them, and now you're abandoning them to starve or freeze to death in these damned lands.
This kingdom needs to be built on peace, Caradoc. Letting them live among merchants, lords, and ladies in Camelot or Timberwall. How would that go?
Exactly as anyone would expect it to go.
So we would end up with a civil war. Right after we won the war that almost annihilated us all.
Oh, damn you. I've had enough. I stood by you through everything. Even what you did to me. To Seawall. I let it all slide. I told myself it was for something. For a noble cause. But this is where I draw the line. I renounce my oaths, and I'm walking away. Put a blade in my back if that helps you sleep. I don't care. Not anymore.
Now I remember it all. I left the best of my people here. I betrayed their loyalty. And for what? Everything is in ruin. Everything I struggled to build is corrupted. This land, it had a glorious past, but it has no future. There is no way to save it. I know. I see it now. And it was my decision that cost them the ability to grow and change. I may have been right about the diagnosis. Now I see I could have been wrong about the cure. The tribes helped us win the war. They were fearless and followed every order. They were the most loyal of all. But I left them broken. And after the war, their bloodlust was insatiable. I had to do something. This felt like the only choice. The Giants sided with our enemy. We had to find a way to remove them from the equation. So, under cover of night, the tribes stole their children. I told the Giants their offspring were our hostages, and that we would slaughter them if they refused to bend the knee. One of the most humiliating moments of that whole war, both for me and for the Del Rita. Caradoc had the clearest eyes of any of us. He saw things for what they were, and I think I destroyed that. Destroyed him with all I did.
I turned him into this. And now he's only a shadow of the man I once knew. He used to carry hope. Now all he carries is vengeance. I come from the Pendragon bloodline, a heritage drenched in as much blood as that of the Delrita. A heritage that pillaged and fought in the homelands for longer than anyone can remember, and unable to build anything that withstood the test of time. I decided to leave it behind me when we won the war against the Four-Dwellers, and built our kingdom on Avalon on stronger foundations. Now we've seen that my bloodline must have been cursed. There's nothing left. Nothing worth saving. Nothing worth rebuilding. I gave everything I had to this land. My blood, my soul, my name. And the land devoured it all. I betrayed the ones who believed in me. I cut down the men who fought for me. I turned away from my own blood to build something better. And all I built was another ruin. I thought I was forging a future. I was just extending the fall. Do what you want. There's nothing about this land that I recognize anymore. All I've ever done got turned into dust, corrupted against my intentions, destroyed. Why bother?
Once and future king, you return. Speak your will through the mortal you now inhabit. Is it time for us to awaken? We have waited for this moment for ages. We shall return to the home of our ancestors. We are grateful for this decision. Your will shall be done.
We are ready to begin the moot. We were only waiting for your return, once and future king. You were strong enough to walk the king's thread, and you conquered it. What is your will, my king? What decision have you made regarding the giants? I understand your decision, though I struggle to accept it. We had the chance to end the war once and for all, and instead we are left with a fragile peace. I only hope that the threat of the weirdness is real enough that Camelot will turn its strength toward protecting the people, and not, once again, to march on our lands. Thank you, my king, for your intervention. I, the voice of the Dalrida tribes, accept your decision with humility and gratitude.
So the giants have returned to their sleep. They have gone to the place where they shall meet the mother and my tribe. It is a wise decision. No one should hold such power. Had I stood in your place, I might have chosen the same. And we, the Delrida, shall endure without their strength. Of that, I have no doubt.
We could have defeated Camelot once and for all. And now, that chance is gone. I should have known this was the decision the king would make. After all, why would he support our tribes? We should at least be thankful he did not side with Camelot. That would have been the end of Dalrita.
The king sent the power of the giants back to the afterlife. I won't lie, I would have liked to see them in action. Well, if we do decide to go to war, we'll have to do it the old-fashioned way, with the strength of our own arms. though I doubt our tribes will march on Camelot without the giants' support. There are simply too few of us to mount a proper siege.
I know not everyone will be pleased about losing the giants, but I believe it was the best decision we could have made. The Dalriata spent too long cowering like children before their greatness, and I had grown weary of giants sitting on the throne. Now we can finally be free.
It is you. I wasn't expecting such a grandiose visit, my king, and I see that you were brought here by some lad. That's kind of you, stranger. But you'll have to pardon the mess. These halls ain't fit to welcome a king, nor the one who bears him within. Ah, right. Sometimes I forget that not everything's as clear as it once was. Truth be told, I tend to lose sight of a few important things myself. But to the point, my name is Gavonin. I'm a craftsman, a blacksmith, and the keeper of this place. The pleasure is mine, kind lad. And your grace, of course. This, kind lad, is the tomb of the knight who never came. There was once a grim legend that claimed this tomb was built out of fear. Fear of an ancient curse Morgana cast upon Arthur. She foretold that all the great knights who were denied the king's favour and honours would rise at the end of days as an army of the dead. They would march on Camelot, seize the capital, shatter the Round Table to dust, defile the royal relics, and from the ruins forge a kingdom of their own. But those are just stories from the old days. This tomb opens only for two kinds of brave souls. Knights who were never granted a seat at the Round Table, and the king himself. I've been sitting here long enough to know what kind of knight visits the tomb. And your visit is unlike any other. No, I would cease to be. I'm bound here by an oath I made to his grace. The one who now dwells within you, but is perfectly fine. It is my home, and so it shall remain for all time. Anyone who finds their way here usually comes seeking eternal rest, and rest like that calls for a proper gravestone. I carve each one with my own chisel. They also bring battle-scarred equipment. My hammer mends what needs mending, so it will serve them well in the land of the dead. And the dead? Well, they need a keeper. Someone to watch over them when unrest stirs. Believe me, those who chase glory in life don't always lie in peace. Really kind of you, lad, but no. Or, well, maybe there is something. You see, I once made a habit of carving gravestones in advance, so that any knight arriving here could choose the one beneath which they'd rest for eternity. Unfortunately, I've misplaced me chisel. It slipped and fell all the way into the depths. Clang, clang, clang. If you could find it, I would be most grateful. If we do not speak of them, then we won't stir their slumber. The dead prefer silence. Best not to call their names. Aye, fewer knights these days, and even less knighthood to speak of. No wonder that so few of them come. Such are the times we live in. Hope you find something worth your time.
You kept us waiting. Your tombs gathered quite a lot of cobwebs and spiders. Best tidy up a little before you settle in for eternity. Ah, of course. Of all the forgotten knights who never came, you stand closest to the king. When you finally join us, you'll tell us what it was like to hear his voice, to share so many battles by his side. I won't deny my envy, but in death, you'll be our equal. And then we'll speak as comrades. I've no need to assume. Everyone dies, sooner or later. But yes, you're right. I suppose I had already decided your mission, whatever it may be, was bound to fail. Perhaps I was mistaken. Forgive me. I've been resting in a tomb for the past 3 centuries, so not much, really. I've been resting in a tomb for the past 3 centuries, so not much, really. Unless, of course, you're pointing out that I'm not in my own grave, in which case, fair enough. But what can I say? I do enjoy the occasional posthumous strolls. I came to this tomb of my own accord, as did many of us. I knew our time was drawing to a close. The gates opened, and so I entered. I had a few words with Govanon and then headed to the crypt prepared for me. With my own gravestone on my back, I treated it as my penance. Sometimes, when men want something badly enough, they're capable of truly awful things. I killed 5 knights. Each one stood higher than me in the race for a seat at the round table. 4 I cut down during a tournament. The last I drowned in a river. He was drunk as a skunk, didn't even comprehend what was happening. Quite the burden to repent for, wouldn't you say? Fine, lad. If someone's to watch over my corpse, I'm glad it's him. I imagine long ago he had more to do. It's been a while since anyone new passed through. I see. You pity the wretch who never reached his dreams. How noble of you, truly. But I propose something fairer. Let's test it. Your cause, my worth. If I lose with dignity, I am all yours. If you still consider me a good candidate for service, but if you fall, then you'll lie in the tomb that's been waiting for you since before you drew your first breath. So, what do you say? Splendid. Let's begin.
Welcome, Your Grace, and the one who walks with him. You did? I was starting to fear that one day I'd have to descend to the lower levels myself. I try not to go that deep. Makes me drowsy. Sometimes I feel like lying down in one of the empty tombs myself. Ha! Thank you. It is a great honor to receive aid from the king and his companion. Here, take this. I hope you both will find it useful. Ah, Savas still lingers then. I'm not surprised. Some knights wear death like a cloak, and even the grave forgets to close behind them. As for the empty grave, every soul that walks this tomb finds their name carved somewhere. It doesn't mean the end is near. Only that the place remembers who you are, even if you forget. When the body finally rests in the grave, the epitaph completes itself.
It must be hard to be denied what you believed was your destiny. To spend your life chasing the unattainable, only to die unfulfilled. It's no wonder they can't find peace. There is a grave ready for all of us somewhere, though maybe not all of us get to see it before it's our time. Did it frighten you? Such a stark reminder of your mortality. No one truly does. Fear of death is woven into us, as surely as breath. But it's not death itself we fear. It's what we leave unfinished. You've seen how it lingers, how it torments those meant to be at peace. Live without regrets, and you'll have nothing to fear when your time comes. Another night still waits in the mist.
I can't believe this.
After everything I did for you,
You won't even let me rest in peace. I'm not talking to you, you mongrel. I'm speaking to the one hiding inside you, like a coward.
Let me speak to him, young one. Galahad, my friend. We come to you in our hour of need.
It wasn't enough to tamper with immortality on your own. You had to drag us into it too. Do you know, it was only after I died that I understood what you'd done. Becoming a Four-Dweller, Arthur. Really?
I've always valued your counsel, Galahad. But we were losing the war, and you were no longer at my side. I had no choice but to try becoming as powerful as they were.
Nonsense. There's always a choice, and you have made the worst one. How could you fraternize with the enemy? Go against everything we fought for? You're right. I wasn't there. If I had been, I'd have beaten you to death with my bare fists before letting you follow the advice of that old charlatan.
It was my choice, not Merlin's.
Keep telling yourself that. I know the truth. I always knew the old man was a manipulator, and you had too much on your shoulders to see what he was really doing.
I respect your opinion, Galahad. I only regret that we meet under these circumstances.
As do I. So, what now? You're taking my remains for a little trip, and I'm supposed to serve you again? Not that you're giving me a choice. If you take me from this place, my essence will be bound to your will. I never really had a choice, did I? The war, your transformation, it would have happened with or without me.
Probably, yes. But now, at least we can see it through to the end.
Do what you want. It's not like I have a choice. This will be the last time you hear me fully aware.
Then, is there anything you want to say to me, Galahad?
Just one thing. May the weirdness take you, traitor.
And so, it is done. Now everything rests in your hands. Their souls, and the fate of Avalon. There is. But before I explain, understand this. I haven't lied to you. What we've done has helped. Those tormented souls and Avalon itself. But it's not the whole story. Arthur and his king still need to be released into the Wordness. I can make that happen. Not yet, but it's a choice you'll have to face when the time comes. Nothing. Avalon will go on, as it always has. But ask yourself, is that the right path? Should people live in fear of the Wordness, generation after generation? Should they carry on, haunted by an incomprehensible threat? Or should they be allowed to embrace it, to become part of it, without fear? No, I want them to be more. My people may be close to the Wordness, but even we aren't immune to its more violent moods. What I want is for the people of Avalon to embrace the Wordness, and for it to embrace them in return. Arthur and his knights are the pillars of humanity in Avalon, and His Majesty's soul is unique, part human, part Four-Dweller. It's the best combination we could hope for, if we want to survive here. Releasing their souls into the Wordness would leave a permanent mark of humanity on this land. The Wordness wouldn't see us as intruders anymore, but as part of itself. Arthur and his knights worked tirelessly to make Avalon ours. This is their chance to finish what they started. Thank you. That's all I ask. And before you go, there's one last thing I'd like to do. I hereby welcome you as a full member of the Royal Geographers. May you carry the legacy of Iryu the Fast Rider and Eleanor Dunn. May your paths be clear, your burdens light, and may Avalon remember your name. Farewell, traveler. I hope our paths cross again.
Meeting him made me reflect on one thing. How many great knights were swallowed by their ambition to sit at the round table. Somewhere along the way, things must have gone terribly wrong. If men could kill one another for something that was meant to be an honor, I pity the lost knights of this world. I'm glad this one will have a chance to fight at his king's side and serve me, as he always wished to. Galahad. I should have known he wouldn't be too happy about being brought back, but I hoped he'd died in peace and would return in peace. I was wrong. War isn't a time when you can afford likes and dislikes. Galahad was a great warrior. He made decisions no other commander dared to. But would he have been a good leader in times of peace? I doubt it. That's why news of his death in battle came as a relief to me. Men like him, once they gain momentum, are nearly impossible to stop. In that regard, he and Galahad the Pure were quite alike. He led a dangerous expedition, one of the most important of the Age of Conquest. Had it succeeded, the war might have ended much sooner, but it didn't. And so the fighting went on. After the war, I had his remains recovered and this tomb built. Over time, he came to be seen as a noble martyr. But who he really was, well, you've seen that for yourself. I regret the fate he met. Let's make sure his sacrifice wasn't in vain.
So, you finally made it. Took you long enough. I hope you're ready, because this is it. The beginning of the end. Philosophically, not you specifically, but someone like you. Literally, yes, and I was getting quite bored with the wait. Ready to finish your journey, of course. You've come far, but every path ends somewhere. Yours ends here, in the heart of it all. This is the Charred Conclave, a graveyard for druids, burned alive as scapegoats for the Red Death. It's a reminder of what happens when people fear what they don't understand. They spoke out. They should have stayed silent, kept their herbs and potions, but they didn't. They believed their ancient knowledge, ugly and painful truths from times long past, could save Avalon from the plague. And maybe they were right. But people don't want the truth when it's covered in blood. Cruel rituals, sacrifices, hard choices in search of real results. They called it wisdom, knowledge gleaned from the weirdness itself. But to the people, everything they did was unnatural, costly, and frightening. The druids believed their results would justify the costs. They thought Avalon would see them as saviors, but the people didn't understand, and fear turned to fire. Well, the Red Church and their politicians made sure of that. The druids became a convenient enemy, a way to shift the blame and tighten their grip on power. It's always so simple, so banal, isn't it? Well, death doesn't always mean an ending. It was a sacrifice so costly, so cruel, so pointless, that it tore a rift in the fabric of this world, an ultimate wound. And so you're the closest you'll ever come to seeing the true shape of this world. To greet you, I was once where you are now, a knight with questions, searching for answers. That search led me to this place. And here I found my answers. Now it's your turn. Well, first you're going to meet my former employer. We don't see eye to eye anymore, but we both realize that our collaboration yields results, as shown by you being here. He'll try to sugarcoat the hard truths I've been telling you from the beginning, spin them differently. Never mind. Why waste time here talking about it when you're just a step from the end? It's best if you just go forth and see for yourself. Just remember, this is the point of no return. Once you've stepped through, there's no going back. But if you've come this far, I suppose you already knew that. Go on. He's waiting for you.
At last we meet. I've heard much about you, your choices, your determination. Caradoc isn't easily impressed, but he was impressed with you. Few dare to seek the truth buried in Avalon's shadows. Fewer still make it this far. I was the first. Caradoc followed when my brethren burned and the tear opened. And now, here you are, a truly rare and joyful occasion. Oh, forgive my lack of manners. I am Orin, the last apprentice of Merlin, and the last archdruid of Avalon. I've carried the weight of this land's secrets longer than I care to admit. But names mean little. What matters is the task before us. What lingers here, it's older than Avalon, older than anything we know. What you see is the beginning of weirdness itself. Its purest form, raw potential, unshaped by anything but its lack of boundaries and limits. Beautiful, isn't it? Oh, precisely the opposite of what Caradoc wants. I want you to help me resurrect King Arthur, properly this time. Ridiculous, I know. But yes, that's what it boils down to. At some point, we stopped seeing eye to eye and chose different paths. Ultimately, though, both our paths led to you. Yes, please let me explain. By the end of his life, Arthur became obsessed with his legacy. He left mementos, artifacts that embodied the virtues he wanted Avalon to preserve. Excalibur, a symbol of loyalty and sacrifice. The crown of Pendragon, a beacon of courage and resilience. The shield of Palamedes, wisdom and independence. But Merlin and the others didn't believe that would be enough. The memory of war and the fragility of peace was still too fresh. So they acted. When the king died, his soul wasn't allowed to move on. It was shattered, bound to those artifacts. A clever solution, but ultimately flawed. They feared losing what Arthur represented more than losing Arthur himself. They thought the king's essence would endure if bound to his relics. You can't pick and choose with a soul, but that's exactly what Merlin did. He focused on 3 parts of Arthur: his strength, wisdom, and courage. He left out 2 pieces. One, tainted by the Four Dwellers' magic, was deemed too dangerous. The other was his humanity, the most fragile part. Merlin thought compassion and doubt were weaknesses, unfit for a king. Without them, Arthur became hollow. A king with power, but no heart. That way, Avalon's greatest failure was born. I tried, and I found his humanity. It's here, bound, kept safe. But the Four Dwellers' aspects was left to drift, untethered between worlds. Finding it needed more than magic. It needed someone like you. The horrors you endured on that island gave you something no one else has. You can move through the weirdness, touch it, and return whole. That's why you found the King's soul, bound it to yourself, and came back. You flatter me. No, I couldn't have predicted all of that. I merely nudged the Red Church in the right direction and asked Caradoc to assist where I couldn't. I can see you're still doubting me. I want to bring back our king, whole and complete. I want him to lead again and safeguard Avalon's future. It won't. This time, Arthur will be whole. A king must be more than power. He must be human. That balance is what will save Avalon. Because I've seen what happens without him. Weirdness preys on the weak, and the people are too divided to stand against it alone. Arthur is their only hope. Ever they're left without him, without guidance, chaos takes hold. Division festers. You've seen it during your journeys. If things continue this way, Avalon will tear itself apart long before weirdness finishes the job. They will follow him. That's what people do. When weirdness comes to their doorstep, they'll beg for a savior. And Arthur will answer the call. Help me bring the king back, whole and complete. That's all I ask of you. Now you need to go further. I made my case. Please keep in mind what I told you. This is the only way for Avalon to survive.
I was there when it all began, when Arthur first set foot on Avalon. I was a knight in his army. We believed in him, in his dream, in his kingdom. And for a while, it was glorious. Every battle felt like a step closer to peace. Every sacrifice justified by the dream we shared. But then came the cost. The war crimes, the impossible decisions, the massacres, slaughters, and irrational cruelty. We turned from knights into butchers, all because his dream demanded it of us. At first I told myself it was necessary, that it was the price of building something great. But the longer it went on, the harder it was to believe. That's when I realized Arthur wasn't a god, a savior, or a king. He was just another man, no different from the rest of us. And no man should have the power to demand such sacrifices. But do you understand why I want it so much? I'd like to believe that after 600 years I've moved past pettiness. You need to understand that people thought, and still think, that he was more than human. But he wasn't. He made mistakes, just like any man. And the cost of those mistakes was always paid for by others. I've seen what happens when people cling to kings and myths. They wait, they follow, they waste their lives on promises that never meant anything. But that's not my problem. I'm not here to fix Avalon or to free anyone. What comes after doesn't matter. Let it all burn, let it rot, let it rebuild. I won't be here to see it. Let them stand, let them fall. It's not my concern. If the weirdness takes them, so be it. At least it won't be another king's failure, another lie propping up a dying world. It'll just be what it is. Call it chaos, call it freedom, I don't care. Let them rise, let them fall, let them tear each other apart. I just want to watch it all come down, to to see the last lie collapse under its own weight. What comes after? That's for the ones still standing to figure out. Then let it. If this world can't stand without a dead king propping it up, maybe it deserves to fall. Arthur's the only myth that still holds weight, and when he's gone, the rest will rot with him. A puppet king, another empty throne, none of it will last. Maybe they'll keep pretending for a while, maybe they won't. I've lived longer than any man should, seen more than anyone should ever bear. And I've waited centuries for this moment, this chance, to end it all, to end him. Arthur isn't Avalon's hope. He's its curse. He's the chain that keeps it bound to the past, dragging it down no matter how far it tries to climb. We were fools to tamper with forces we didn't understand. Resurrecting Arthur, infusing him with powers of the weirdness. We didn't just bend the natural laws, we shattered them. Such violations of nature's order cannot go unanswered. The bill comes due, sooner or later. Always. This cannot be allowed to continue. Listen, it's taken longer than I ever imagined, but now, here we are. You've done what no one else could, what even I couldn't do. You've brought Arthur's soul back together, almost complete, but not quite. And because of you, I can finally finish what I started centuries ago. So, thank you for bringing us to this moment. You're close now. Just one more step. The last fragment of Arthur's soul is waiting for you. Complete what you came here for. And then, we'll meet again. As allies, or as enemies. That's up to you. Go. Find the last piece, and let's end this. Whatever comes next, I'll be ready. I hope you will be too.
You've come. The one who carries what's left of me. Please, don't come any closer. Don't force me to think about coming back again. Just let me finally die. Because I've had enough. Enough of being torn apart and stitched back together. Enough of being used, shaped, and forced to be something I'm not. Do you know what it is like to be a king of nothing? To see the people you swore to protect suffer because of your choices? Or worse, in your name. I've seen towns burnt to the ground, families destroyed, all because someone thought it would serve the greater good. And they called it loyalty. They called it justice. I've been dragged through every dream, every lie they've built around me. And I'm tired. Tired of the weight, of the expectations, of all of it. And most of all, I'm tired of failing. I want release. I want to stop being a tool in their endless struggle. Kill me. Destroy the last piece of me and use the energy however you wish. Take it yourself and become the new king. Give it to someone else. I don't care. Just don't let me come back again. Orin wants a king, not me. He doesn't see the broken man behind the myth. He sees a symbol, a weapon to wield against the weirdness. But symbols aren't people.
they're empty. And the more they're used, the more they hollow out the one who carries them. That's all I've ever been to Orin and the Druids. Do you know what it's like to be a weapon? To be forged, sharpened, and thrown at every problem? He thinks ending me will free Avalon. But what then? Without an idea, a light to guide them, they'll stumble, lose their way, and turn on each other. People always seek something to follow, something to believe in. Take that away, and they'll tear each other apart trying to find it. Or worse, build something even crueler in its place. Let me die. Not as Arthur, not as the king, just as a simple, normal human being. Another way? There's always another way, isn't there? Another cycle, another resurrection, another lie to keep the world spinning. But please, not for me. Not anymore. I've had enough. I don't want another chance. I want this to be over. Isn't that what you've been doing all along? Carrying what's left of him? You've already taken up the humanity I was meant to represent. Doesn't that prove Arthur doesn't need me anymore? I don't care. Do you know how freeing that is, to finally not care what happens next? Whether Orin gets his king or Caradoc gets his ruin? To not feel the burden of all my failures? To not see my memory tarnished, my plans, goals, and ambitions dragged through the mud? To not see the suffering my name causes? No more deaths in my shadow. No more kingdoms built on my bones. Do what you think is right. That's all I can tell you, because whatever you decide, it will finally be your choice, not mine, not theirs. And that's the only thing I've ever wanted. You hold the choice. I don't care who you side with, Orin, Caradoc, or no one at all. You have all of my soul. Use it. Take it for yourself, or give it to someone else. I don't even want to know. Do what you will with it. Just let me go. Let me finally rest. Let me die. Please.
You carried a dying king across the bones of a dying world. Now you stand before what started it all. An idea. I am the reason there must be an ending. I do not guide. I do not judge. I exist so that something can be chosen. I do not offer meaning. I require that one be made. You have brought all things to their conclusion. Now, decide what must remain. Choose, and let the shape of the world follow. You will vanish into the story you chose to restore. You will break the frame, and what follows will not remember you. You will be seen. You will be followed. You will be blamed. You will shape the world to become its witness. he shall find his way home. The tear between the worlds shall close. Then the prince will ascend and return to his mother. The heart shall cease its bleeding. Through his ascension, the weirdness will be tamed.
No, I won't let this happen. Not again.
You uncovered the truth buried in the weirdness and used it to return Arthur to where he truly belonged, ending the cycle and securing Avalon's future. The Four-Dweller Mother's heart, no longer bleeding, sealed the wound in the world, and with it, ended the Red Death that had stolen so many lives. And so, the legend of King Arthur began to fade. In its place grew a stronger Avalon, where the weirdness was no longer feared, but understood. With One Eye and Captain Brandon working side by side, the South found a peace it hadn't known in years. The roads stayed open, the fields were guarded, and the people finally felt safe. No longer bound to Camelot or the Knights of the Round Table, it became a land ruled by its own people on its own terms. Because of you, the men here remained and the Kuanacht endured, not just as a place, but as a legacy of quiet defiance and hope. Lord Yvain was remembered as a hero who gathered the wise and set out in search of the Grail, while Kuanacht stood as a peaceful haven amid the weirdness. You awakened the giants, only to command their end, leaving no power behind for either side to claim. Without their strength, the balance held, but the divide between Camelot and the Dal Rita remained, wide, bitter, and far from settled. Feargas was named the new Galahad the Loyal. With One Eye and Brandon unable to rally the Dal Rita of the Forlorn Swords, the South remained divided. Feargas prepared Camelot's forces to reclaim the region by strength, determined to restore unity through conquest if necessary. The captain led the South to independence, breaking all ties with Camelot. Under his rule, the Horns of the South flourished. Merchants, pilgrims, and adventurers returned to the roads, and prosperity once again reached the far corners of the land. One Eye ruled the South with the Horns of the South at his side. The Dal Rita, the Forlorn Swords, remained divided, leaving the South strong but isolated. Without wider unity, his rule endured for a time. The future beyond his leadership remained uncertain. Nianta left Kuanacht with Yvain, and her fate remained unknown. Yet among the people she once served, tales of her devotion and courage endured, and her name was remembered with respect. Magat left Kuanacht alongside Yvain, surprising many who had long considered him harmless and weak. His fate remained unknown, but in time, the people spoke proudly of the last druid, claiming him as one of their own. Oeuvre left Kuanacht alongside Yvain, despite concerns about his age. His fate remained unknown, but the people admired him for finding purpose at the end of his life, and spoke of him with lasting respect. Fabius fled with Leo before the church could act. In hiding, they built a quiet life together, raising their child far from the reach of the Red Church. Ailey turned to the merchants for support, and for a time the hospital prospered. But when they began charging patients for care, she walked away and opened her own small practice, refusing to serve profit over healing. With Frail as their new matron, the Vulka pulled even further away from the Dal Rita. Hidden among the snowy peaks, they focused on rebuilding their tribe and strengthening their numbers. The berserkers they had once been famed for became fewer and fewer, until all that was left was a fading name, half remembered and half feared. Ingrid turned away from the eternal sleep, choosing life over dreams. In time, she began to rebuild the Thoid among the living, planting the first seeds of a new future for her scattered people. Under Stronar's leadership, the Ulfra found new strength. He rebuilt the tribe and reunited them with the rest of the Dal Rita, restoring their place among the tribes of the Forlorn Swords. With the Stagfather slain and the old bonds broken, Balaam led the Svine towards a new path. He opened the tribe to the other clans of the Dal Rita and guided them to settle in the Mather mines. You chose to free the Four-Dwellers, but captivity had broken their minds. They turned on their savior and were slain. Without the song, the Stone Warden craft ended, and their legacy was lost with the death of the last of their order. You and Bjorn remained together, sharing a quiet life until the end. No great songs were sung of your days, only the simple bond of two souls who chose each other. After returning to Camelot, Killian lived quietly for a time. When he vanished, few asked questions. Unsettling rumors had always followed him, and most preferred not to remember. O Queen Cinnamon Sage never forgot the bond he shared with you. Proud of the path you chose, he built a small shop near your grave, and in quiet moments, still spoke to you as he once did. A friend loyal beyond the bounds of life.